Welcome back everyone to another build showcase for Divinity Original Sin 2. Today we are tackling the Shadow Blade, a rogue build for those that prefer stabbing enemies in the back rather than the front. Rogues are absolute monsters in Act 1 and early Act 2. We start as a high damage single target eliminator, and as we progress we'll transform this build into a chaos creating bruiser, using high mobility and crowd control to disrupt the entire battlefield. As always, the full leveling guide and a lone wolf version is in the description. So let's jump straight into character creation. For your race, you have the three top tier choices: Elf, Human, or Feint. Personally, I recommend the Elf. The racial ability Flesh Sacrifice gives you that extra action point and a 10% damage boost, which is invaluable for securing kills in the early game. Feint is a great option for Time Warp, which allows you to take 2 turns in a row, one of the strongest abilities in the game, alongside Ingenious built in for more backstab damage. But if you prefer a more traditional look, Humans are solid for the Ingenious talent alone, giving you extra crit. The crit chance isn't super useful as we will just be backstabbing, but the damage it provides is pretty nice. For your starting attributes, dump everything into Finesse for a +3 start. We want raw damage right out of the gate. For abilities, split your points between Scoundrel and Warfare. For starting skills, we are grabbing the holy trinity of early game rogue warfare: Backslash, which will be your gap closer that guarantees a critical hit and sets you up right behind the enemies for easy backstabs. Second is Battle Stomp, an AoE knockdown to control the enemies you've just stripped armor from. And third, we have Battering Ram, which is mobility plus a knockdown. For your starting talent, you have a choice: the Pawn or Executioner. The Pawn gives you free movement to line up backstabs easily, while Executioner gives you 2 AP when you secure a kill. I prefer leaning towards Executioner for the early snowball potential, but Pawn is a much comfier choice for navigating around in the early game. For stats, we are going to pump Finesse every single level until it is capped, and completely ignore Wits for this build, because as a rogue, if you position yourself behind an enemy, you have a 100% critical chance. At least assuming you're using dual daggers like you should be. So we don't need to waste points rolling for crits when we can just guarantee them. This does make it extra crucial that you are positioning yourself for backstabs every time. Once your Finesse is maxed out, we are going to pivot hard into Constitution. By the late game, when your Finesse gets maxed out, every build has crit, so this build has to offer something else to be useful. So for this, we are going to become a tanky disruptor. You'll want enough HP to survive the massive burst damage and arcs, so letting you stay in the fight to peel for your team and cause chaos on the battlefield is a great option. In Act 1 and 2, you are one of the strongest carries. Your goal is to delete high priority targets. To do that, you're going to use the Chicken Tendies combo. You'll want to pick up Chicken Claw from the Polymorph tree and Rupture Tendons from Scoundrel. The combo is very simple. Strip the enemy's physical armor, hit them with Ruptured Tendons, and then turn them into a chicken. The AI will force the chicken to run away in fear, and because Ruptured Tendons deals damage for every step they take, they will literally walk themselves to death. For mobility, you want Cloak and Dagger and Phoenix Dive. These will allow you to reach backline enemies easier and also put yourself in perfect position for backstabs. You also want to grab Bull Rush from the Polymorph tree. It's a great gap closer that deals pure AoE piercing damage and applies bleed. And of course, Adrenaline and Teleport are mandatory. Teleport lets you drop enemies on top of each other, so you can Battle Stomp or Battering Ram them all at once. Well, Adrenaline gives you an advance on your AP to use this turn instead of next, so you can burst a high priority enemy down. Your defensive suite is going to be Uncanny Evasion and Chameleon Cloak. Uncanny Evasion makes you nearly impossible to hit with physical attacks for a turn, and Chameleon Cloak will let you vanish if things get too hot. You can combo Chameleon Cloak with Cloak and Dagger to get around the battlefield and surprise enemies quickly. The combat loop early on is jump in, eliminate the mage or ranger on the enemy team, vanish, and then come back to crowd control the rest. Our talent progression is very specific to support our transition into a bruiser. At level 3, we're going to take Opportunist. The primary reason is that this just gives us more damage for a chicken tendies combo in the early game, which is when we are at our absolute strongest. The chicken will be forced to run and give us free damage from the Opportunist proc. Opportunist will also be solid later on for the Bruiser playstyle. When enemies try to run past you to get to your squishy mage, you'll at least get a free stab at them. Level 8 will grab Mnemonic. This build uses a lot of skills from Warfare, Scoundrel, Polymorph, and Arrow, so Mnemonic gives us the memory slots we need without sacrificing finesse power early on. And at level 13 we grab a game changer talent, 5-star Diner. This talent doubles the effects of all potion and food. This turns your 50% dodge potions into 100% physical immunity, and your medium resist all potions into full magic immunity. It effectively makes you completely unkillable in certain situations and can make you do more damage with certain stat potions as well. At level 18 we round the build out with all skilled up. It gives us a small extra edge in combat points to round out our build before the finale. As we hit the late game, we change our philosophy a little bit. By Act 3 and 4, two-handed warriors and archers will naturally have high crit chances, so your backstab advantage disappears entirely. This is when you'll become the chaos-creating bruiser. You'll want Skin Graft to reset your cooldowns for double the burst and CC, and Nether Swap to displace enemies. Your goal is going to be to use your high mobility to swap enemies into bad positions for your team to nuke them down. Offensively, we can also pick up Sleeping Arms to apply Atrophy, which will disarm physical enemies. And lastly, Fan of Knives. Fan of Knives is a great damage ability to have. It's usually an AoE, but if you stand directly on top of a boss, every single knife can hit that one target for a massive damage burst. Finally, let's talk gear. In Act 1, you'll want the Captain's Armor set. You get this from the Threads of a Cursed quest. The set bonus applies a charm aura to enemies missing magic armor. If they try to come near you, they get charmed instantly, which is extremely potent. Even though we deal physical damage, you'll accidentally have this happen to enemies with low magic armor, and you will instantly win because of it. More importantly though, it just has high defensive stats early on, and comes with stats that rogues love, like Scoundrel, Movement, and Dodge. Comeback Kid is also really nice. Diving into the back can get your rogue killed, but it won't matter as long as you wear this set. In Act 3, hunt down the Shadow Prince on the Nameless Isle and take his Signet. It gives +3 finesse and grants Chameleon Cloak for free. If you are using this build with a ranger in the party, I do recommend giving this to the ranger instead, as they get higher priority because they are stronger. In Act 4, your weapon of choice is Domo Dumora. It has the best stats of any dagger in the game. Lastly, you might be tempted by the Devourer set, and technically it is the best armor for this build. However, if you are running a two-handed warrior like my Raging Bull build, the Devourer set is much better for them. If you are not running a two-handed warrior, then absolutely use the Devourer set on this build. For this rogue, generally you should prioritize random divine quality gear that gives you bonuses to Warfare, Scoundrel, and Finesse, and ones that ideally have a rune slot. And that is the Shadowblade, a build that starts as a deadly assassin and evolves into an unkillable battlefield disruptor. If you enjoyed this guide, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more Divinity Original Sin 2 builds. Let me know in the comments what you want to see next. I'll see you in the next video.